Students, let us discuss one very important topic for exam, section 138, dishonor of check due to insufficiency, etc. of funds. Let us discuss in detail with examples, because I want that if a question is asked on section 138, you should be able to solve it confidently. The title reads as dishonor of check for insufficiency, etc. of funds in the account, section 138. I have highlighted the keywords in the heading. What is happening? A check is getting dishonored. Why? Due to insufficiency of funds. See, whenever you issue a check, you should maintain that balance in your account for at least 3 months. Now, let's say that your dad issued a check in my favor for rupees 25,000. Okay, your dad gave me fees of 25,000. The date which he wrote on the check was 1st of August. You can take any year that you want. All right. So 1st August was the date on which he issued the check. Now, the validity of a check is 3 months. So, because he has issued a check to me, I can deposit that check anytime in those 3 months. See, the validity of the check is 3 months. So, I can deposit the check anytime within those 3 months. Your dad cannot say, "Arey, I issued the check today, you should have deposited the next day. Why did you wait for 1 month?" Arey, it is my wish. I can deposit the check whenever I want during the validity period. Ma'am, what if he issued a post-dated check? Like sometimes, when we purchase the lectures or we join a class, we issue post-dated checks. So the validity will start from the date which is mentioned on the check. So 3 months validity starts from the date which is mentioned on the check. So if it is a post-dated check, like the check dates as 1st September, then the validity of 3 months will start from 1st of September. All right? Okay. So your dad has issued a check to me. The validity period of the check is 3 months. I can deposit the check anytime during those 3 months. Your dad will have to maintain an account in your bank for those 3 months. Yes, so that is one requirement of a check. That is something which you have to be very careful when you issue the check. So your dad issued a check. I can deposit that anytime within 3 months. And let's say that I went after 2.5 months. Your dad forgot that he had issued a check to me. I deposited the check and the check got dishonored due to insufficiency of funds. Automatically, section 138 will be attracted. So we are talking about dishonor of check. So only from the point of view of check. We will study this section only from the point of view of check. Dishonor of check. Why? Due to insufficiency, etc. of funds in the account. So the check is dishonored due to insufficiency of funds. See how you can connect and memorize the heading also. Dishonor of what? Of check. Why? Due to insufficiency of funds. Now to simplify the provisions, I have a small diagram for you. I have already drawn this diagram to save time. Now, pay attention. I will give you time to copy, but pay attention. First, understand how to read this chart. Mr. X owes 25,000 rupees to Y. Owes means, let's say he had purchased goods, or maybe he has to pay to repay some loan, etc. So, Mr. X, he owes 25,000 rupees to Y. He issued a check. Now, this is how we understand it. But you cannot write in such simple language in the exam. So, what will you write? Mr. X owes 25,000 rupees to Z. Now, in the exam, you will write, the drawer has issued a check, or one person has issued a check for the payment of money to another person to discharge either in whole or in part of any debt or liability. Let's break and understand. The total fees that was payable to me was, let's say, 60,000 rupees. All subjects, 60,000 rupees. The first installment is for 25,000. So your dad gave a check for 25,000. Now that 25,000 is in discharge of part of any debt or liability. So I am teaching you, you owe money. Total fees is 60,000. You gave me the first installment of 25,000. So when one person issues a check for payment of money to another person, so you issued a check to pay money to me. To discharge. Discharge means it is your obligation, you're discharging it. To discharge either in whole. Maybe you gave me entire 60,000 or now you gave me only 25,000. So why are you making payment? I want to discharge. What? Either whole or in part of any debt or liability. So one person issues a check to the other person for payment of money to discharge either in whole or part of any debt or liability. So these are the provisions and this is how you will learn it. You break and learn it, okay? So I'm issuing a check, your father is issuing a check for the payment of money to another person to discharge any debt or liability either in whole or in part. Now, let's come back to this example. X issued a check of 25,000. So Y deposited the check in the bank. But the bank returned the check claiming that it is dishonored due to insufficiency of funds. Now, law calls this as an offense which is punishable with either imprisonment or fine or both. Ma'am, what if the check gets dishonored? We will be put in jail? No, that's not the case. Very rarely they apply imprisonment to a common man. Imprisonment will be applied only when there is, dishonor of check very frequently, or a person has issued many checks to banks and other persons with the aim of cheating them and, not repaying the money. So like Nirav Modi, he was a person who started the diamond business. Okay, he was into diamond business, but he ultimately defaulted in making the payments. But in order to, show that I'm giving you a check, so he issued checks and they all got dishonored, then that kind of person will be subject to imprisonment. Imprisonment can be maximum 2 years or fine. Generally, the banks impose fine or fine that is maximum 2 times the amount of check. Or it had happened with me once. There was an EMI which was due and it is automatic debit. And I have kept that account only for this EMI purpose. Okay? But once I forgot to transfer money in that account. Okay. So I generally what I do, like in the beginning of the month, I transfer the amount, but I think I was traveling or something, I don't remember. And I was like, I'll do it later. And then I forgot about it. The EMI date arrived and there was no money insufficient money. It's not that I didn't have money. There was insufficient money. So my check got dishonored. That transaction failed. Put in jail. But yes, I had to pay 3,000 rupees fine. Okay. So, and that was not 2 times. This is maximum 2 times the amount of check. So my EMI was, I think, around 30,000 or something like that. I had to pay a penalty of 3,000 rupees. So maximum imprisonment 2 years, maximum fine 2 times the amount of check, or so it is a punishable offense, either imprisonment or fine or both. So how is it written over here? When any check is drawn by a person. So your dad drew a check on account maintained by him with the bank. So your dad has an account in the bank. He paid money to another person, me, for discharge either in whole or in part of any debt or liability. Now that is returned by the bank unpaid. The bank said that this check is dishonored due to insufficiency of funds. Then that person shall be liable to have committed an offense and will be liable for imprisonment. Okay, let's highlight now. Imprisonment for a term which may extend to maximum 2 years, or fine which may extend to 2 times the amount of check, or both. Now, why was the check dishonored? Maybe the amount standing to the credit was insufficient to honor the check. The check was of 30,000 in my case. There were insufficient funds for dishonor. or it exceeds the amount arranged to be paid from that account by an agreement made with that bank, then such person will be deemed to have committed an offense. I had some arrangement with the bank, but the amount of the check exceeded. Like, see, for example, the bank had given me an overdraft OD of 3 lakh rupees, but I issued a check by mistake of 3.25 lakhs. So, the bank had allowed me to overdraw, but that arrangement was only for 3 lakhs. I issued a check of 3.25 lakhs. Obviously, it will be dishonored. Sometimes it happens, we set a daily limit. Like, the payments from my account should not exceed, like, say, 1 lakh rupees per day. And I issued a check of 2.5 lakhs, or, that day the checks which were deposited and money was demanded from my bank and it exceeded some arrangement. We don't know what kind of arrangement, but OD is a very good example for that. I made an arrangement with the bank that I will overdraw for the extent of 3 lakhs and I issued a check of 3.25 lakhs. Obviously, it will be dishonored. So, see how I have broken the provisions into small parts. So, a check was drawn for the payment of that amount to another person in discharge of either whole or part of the liability. And that is returned dishonored. Either because the amount is insufficient or it is more than the amount which we have arranged. Then the person will be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 2 years, or fine which may extend to twice the amount of check. Or this is very, very important for case-based questions. So please highlight this as very, very important for case-based question. A check which is given as gift, donation, or security, or in discharge of a mere moral obligation, or for an illegal consideration, that will be outside the purview. Very important for you to note. See the wordings of this section. Section 138 will apply only and only when the payment is made for discharge of any debt or liability. Very important to note. Section 138 will apply only and only when the check is issued to discharge any debt or liability. Section 138 will not apply when I am issuing a check for reasons other than discharge of debt or liability. Ma'am, what is debt? What is liability? Like, I purchased goods from you, so I need to pay money. I have taken loan from you, I need to pay money. Any debt or liability, and that is returned unpaid. But it will not apply to gift. I gave you 5,000 rupees on your birthday. Okay, I gave you a check of 5,000 rupees on your birthday. That is returned dishonor. Section 138 will not apply. I gave donation. That check got dishonored. Section 138 will not apply because that check is not for discharging any debt or liability. I had given it as security. Now, I took a flat on rent, okay, and I gave them a security of 2 lakh rupees. See, it happens. Like, I had taken a flat on rent. So they generally take 3 months rent or 6 months rent, like that. Okay. So they took a security of 2 lakh rupees. Now what happens is that if I default in paying the rent, let's say I did not pay the rent for 2 or 3 months or 6 months, so they also need some security. So they take that 2 lakh rupees, that in case I fail to pay the rent, they will deposit that check and they will keep that money. Now that check which I had given as security, that got dishonored. It is some moral obligation. It was not that I had to pay as a debt or liability. It was just a moral obligation. Like, I give maintenance to my sister. Every month I pay her 20,000, for example. So it's just a moral obligation. Okay? I'm not like bound to pay legally. It's just that I paid because she's my sister. So that is just a moral obligation, and that check got dishonored. Or I gave for an illegal consideration. Like, I gave a check of 2 lakh rupees to a don, and I told him, get this house vacated. I'll give you 2 lakh rupees. That is illegal consideration. If that gets dishonored, Section 138 will not apply. Getting me? Section 138 will apply under these circumstances. Now, over here, X issued a post-dated check to Y. Post dated means, let's say today is 1st of July. I'm assuming the date of the check is 1st of August. So the post dated check is given today, but the date which I have put on the check I have written is 1st of August. That is a post dated check. Now, the validity of the post dated check will be 3 months from the date which is mentioned, or there is some validity period which is written that this check is valid up to date is written. So whichever is earlier. So the check is valid for 3 months from this day. X issued a stop payment of that check. Hey, don't deposit that check. Now, the check was issued today on 1st of July. But the date is 1st of August. This is a post-dated check. Now, X issued a post-dated check for discharge of liability. All right, I wanted these words. He instructed the bank to stop payment the check due to unavailability of funds. So here also, section 138 is attracted as when the check is dishonored on account of stop payment. Here it is attracted irrespective of insufficiency of funds. So section 138 will be attracted just because you have committed stop payment of the check, just because you have ordered the bank to stop the payment of check. It doesn't matter that you had funds in your account. It does not matter that it is due to insufficiency of funds in the account. Now, what happens is, I issued a check to you, then I suddenly realized, hey, there are insufficient funds in my account. If the check is deposited, let's say, for example, I issued the check today. Today is 1st of July. Now, this check will be deposited and it will be valid from 1st of August. It means you can deposit from 1st of August within 3 months. I suddenly realized on, let's say, for example, 2nd of August. I realized, hurry, I had issued a check and it is valid from 1st of August, but I don't have funds. I immediately stopped the payment of check. Now, I did not allow you to deposit the check and then it was dishonored. Law says that yes, we agree that you were very vigilant. You were very, aware that only if the check is deposited, it is dishonored, section 138 will attract. Let me now stop the payment of check. We agree that you are very vigilant. But law says, and whenever you issue a check, you must ensure that there are sufficient funds in your account. Otherwise, what will happen? People will not take this seriously. They will issue a check, stop payment, issue the check, stop payment. Now, let's say, for example, that you gave me fees of 25,000 rupees. You started attending the lectures. The check is valid from a certain date. So I thought, okay, I will deposit after 15-20 days. Let him attend the lectures. Now, you attended the lectures. I went to deposit the check. You made stop payment of that check. But you had already attended my lectures. Now you're continuing, yes, ma'am, I will pay. So, people will not take this seriously, unless and until you impose some kind of punishment on them. Some kind of penalty is imposed. People will issue the check, stop the payment of check. Issue the check, stop it. Now you went to purchase goods. You told him, hey, I will give you by check. I will pay by check. Give me this laptop. I will pay you by check. He gave you the laptop. You issued a check. Then next day you called the bank, stop the payment of check. But you already got the laptop. So your law says that we need to take strict action and section 138 will apply. If suppose it is proved that you took the laptop and you had no intention of honoring the check, you may be imprisoned also. You're getting me? We will not just leave you with fine. We will then imprison you. So that people take this seriously, that is why law says that it doesn't matter if it is a post-dated check. You have ordered stop payment. Section 138 will apply. If you have issued a check, take it seriously. Ensure that there are adequate funds in your account. So you cannot give the argument. You cannot give this reason. But bank, or you cannot tell the government, but I realize that there are insufficient funds. That is why I given for stop payment. I didn't let the instrument get dishonored. Nothing doing. Even if you realized, still, we will not allow you to escape the provisions of section 138. Okay. Post-dated check will be valid for 3 months from the date of fixed drawing. So you can just ensure that you have written everything properly. Just see if you have covered. But section 138 shall not apply, not apply unless, What does it mean? They simply want to complicate the provisions. It will not apply unless the given conditions are complied with. Can I say in simple, section 138 will apply only when these conditions are satisfied? Yes. So it means section 138 shall apply only when the following conditions are satisfied. Check must be presented within the period of validity, that is within 3 months. So the check was issued on 1st of August. So let's say that X had issued the check on 1st of August. So Y can take action only when he presented the check within 3 months. Now let's say that Y is very lazy. He deposited the check after 4 months. Check got dishonored due to insufficiency. Now can he take action against under section 138? You can take action under 138 for dishonor only when you have deposited the check in 3 months' time. So in those 3 months, if the check is dishonored due to insufficiency, section 138 will apply. If you went after 3 months, then the drawer is not obligated to maintain adequacy of funds. The check is issued on 1st of August. You have to present within 3 months. Check was presented to the bank within 3 months from the date of issue, or if there is some validity period given on it, whichever is earlier. So let's say that the check was valid up to 30th of September. So you should deposit the check before 30th of September. If it is dishonored, then yes, you can take action under section 138. If not, then you cannot blame the drawer. For the next 3 points, students, I have an example and we will discuss and understand this only with the help of example. I will give you time to copy, but first understand. Mr. Alam drew a check and gave it to Mr. Gandhi. Alam drew a check, gave it to Mr. Gandhi. I have given you the dates. The check is issued on 2nd of February. It was deposited on 16th of March. The check is dishonored on 17th of March. Notice is given on, these are the dates which are given. Okay. Now let's understand them. Let me keep. So Mr. Alam issued a check to Mr. Gandhi. Mr. Gandhi went to his bank. He deposited the check. The check was dishonored. The bank informed Mr. Gandhi. Mr. Gandhi gave a notice to Mr. Alam. Now, Mr. Alam should make arrangements for payment, either issue a fresh check or make the payment. Otherwise, Mr. Gandhi has the right to take action against Mr. Alam. Now, pay attention. Mr. Alam issued a check in favor of Mr. Gandhi. Mr. Gandhi deposited the check in his bank. The check is returned dishonored. Now, Mr. Alam should know about it, right? Mr. Alam should be given a notice. Arey, listen, the check which you gave is dishonored. So law says, Mr. Gandhi, please give him a notice. Inform him that the check is dishonored. Then he will make arrangements for payment. The payee, in our case, Mr. Gandhi. Okay, Mr. Gandhi is the payee. Payee means the person in whose favor the check is drawn. Alam is the drawer. The payee must send a notice within 30 days of dishonor. How will you give the notice? How will you inform him that the check is dishonored? You cannot give notice orally because it cannot be produced as an evidence in the court of law. you have to give the notice in writing or by fax or email or any other electronic mode. All this will provide proof of delivery. So notice will be given within 30 days of dishonor. So the dishonor was 17th of March. See, the check is issued on 2nd of February. It was deposited by Mr. Gandhi on 16th of March. The check is dishonored on 17th of March. So within 30 days, I need to give a this to the drawer. You have to learn this only, that notice needs to be given. So check is issued on 2nd of Feb. It is deposited on 16th of March. Check is dishonored on 17th of March. Within 30 days, I need to give a notice. Now, notice should be sent by 17th of March plus 30 days. So that comes to 17th of April. Let's see when he actually gave the notice. Notice was actually given on 31st of March. The time available is 17th of April. He gave on 31st of March. It is well within that. It is within the time limit. I repeat. Alam gave check to Mr. Gandhi. Mr. Gandhi deposited the check. Check is returned dishonored. Mr. Gandhi should give a notice to Mr. Alam. Notice should not be given orally. It should be in writing or by fax, email or any other electronic. Notice should be given within 30 days of dishonor. So the time available is up to 17th of April. But he actually gave a notice on 31st of March, which is well within the time limit. Now, Mr. Alam has received a notice that your check is dishonored. So he should make arrangements for payment within 15 days of receiving the notice. So the drawer will make the payment within 15 days of. So notice was given on 31st of March, but this notice was received by Mr. Alam on 2nd of April. So notice was given on 31st, but it was received. So it was sent, but he got it on 2nd April. Within 15 days, he must make arrangement for payment. So from 2nd of April, calculate 15 days. It comes to 17th of April. So by 17th of April, Mr. Alam should make arrangements to pay money to Mr. Gandhi. Right? If he fails, if Mr. Alam has failed to make arrangements, then Mr. Gandhi, the payee, can file a complaint within 30 days of failure. So up till what date he had the time to make payment? Mr. Alam was supposed to make payment by 17th of April. What if he failed? Gandhi can file a case within 30 days of failure. That comes to 17th of May. So this was the question, that by 17th of May, Mr. Gandhi can file a case against Mr. Alam. Let's revise. Alam issued a check in favor of Mr. Gandhi. Gandhi deposited the check. It is returned dishonor. Mr. Gandhi gave a notice. This notice must be given either in writing or by fax, email or any other electronic mode. It cannot be given orally. Notice should be sent within 30 days of dishonor. Okay. Drawer shall make the payment within 15 days of receiving the notice. If he fails, payee has a time limit of 30 days from the failure to file a complaint in the court of law. That payment was not received even after notifying him about the dishonor. All this you can write and then I will show it to you from the textbook. Okay. All this is covered over here. Okay, so whatever is written here, I have explained it with the help of that example. The next section is presumption in favor of the holder. Now let's say that your dad gave me a check for the fees. I am holding that check, I am the holder. Law presumes that the holder has received a check for discharge of some debt or liability. So we want to trust that a person who's holding the check has not used coercion, or I have not done some fraud, I have not stolen the check, I have received due to any debt or liability owed to me. When the check is dishonored, okay, like Mr. Gandhi, he went to file a case. Mr. Gandhi went to file a case. So law will assume that if you are receiving a check, you must have received it due to some debt or liability. So it is assumed that when the check is dishonored, the holder of the check received the check in discharge of either whole or in part of any debt or liability. It also means that I had not received the check due to theft, fraud, forgery. It was not a lost check and I took it. There was some debt or liability due to me, and the other person gave me the payment by check. So law assumes that if I'm holding the check, it is because I had to receive the amount for some debt or liability. But the presumption is a rebuttable presumption. Now, what is the meaning of rebuttable presumption? Rebuttable means that the other person, that is a drawer, he will have to prove, no, judge, this person took the check through fraud or he stole the check. You prove it. So the person issuing the check can prove to the contrary. If he wants, he can prove it. If he doesn't prove it, or if he doesn't take any initiative, law will assume that I have received that check because some debt or liability was due to me. It's a rebuttable presumption, means that the drawer can prove, okay, he can prove that no, judge, he is filing a case under section 138, but there was no debt or liability due to him. He forced me to issue the check. You prove it. The effect is to place the evidential burden on the accused. So you have to, or let's say for example that your dad issued a check in my favor. Okay, it was for 25,000. The check got dishonored. I got very angry. I filed a case on your dad. We went to the court of law. The judge said, the check is issued. It was dishonored. Sir, why did you dishonor the check? Your dad will prove that, sir, I didn't have to pay any money to ma'am. She told me that if you don't give me 25,000 rupees, I have a friend in ICAI and he will fail your child. So I was forced to make payment. There's no debt or liability which I have to pay. So in this case, he issued a check to me. Check was dishonored. So I accused him of dishonor. He is the accused. Are you getting me? He issued a check in my favor. The check got dishonored. So I filed a case against him under section 138 because your check is dishonored. So he is the accused. He is accused of dishonoring. Then he will prove, no, judge, I didn't have to make any payment for debt or liability. Ma'am said that she will pay my child. That is why I had to pay. So the burden lies on the accused. So you have to prove that it was either for a debt or liability or not. That is section 139. It shall be presumed that the check is drawn to discharge and liability. If you want to challenge it, then prove it. Rebuttable means claim or prove that an evidence or accusation is false. So the accused, your dad, will have to prove that no, I am being wrongly accused. I didn't have to pay any debt or liability. Now, no defense will be allowed under section 138. You cannot say, oh, I was not well, that is why I didn't have sufficient funds in my account. I forgot that I had issued a check. Like, I cannot tell the bank that, arey, you should have reminded me before the EMI was deducted. I forgot, or I was out of station. No, I had to pay the penalty. Section 138 applied to me. So, it shall not be a defense in prosecution of under section 138 that the drawer had no reasons to believe that when the check was issued that it will be dishonored for the reasons stated in the section. You cannot say, arey, it has never happened in the past. When I issued the check, I never expected that I will forget. I generally don't forget these things. No excuse will be entertained. Section 138 will apply. You cannot give any excuse. Okay? So you cannot say, no, I didn't believe that he will present the check so soon. So I thought he will go aram se after 15 days. You cannot give such a reason. That was section 140. So in today's session, students, we covered section 138, 139 and 140. Other sections are not relevant for your exam. In my next session, I will be discussing with you presentment of negotiable instruments. Presentment, not very important. There are a few parts which are important for exam that I will tell you when we discuss this section next time.